Hey guys, hope everybody's doing good in this coronavirus stuff. Just doing a video on a system I've got here. This is a package system, American Standard, and what we've got here is we've got an expansion valve issue, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when we fire it up. As you can see, my pressures are stabilized right now. The system is off, but when I fire it up, you guys are going to see what happens to my pressure on the low side in the cool mode. And what we've got here is we've got an expansion valve, a thermal expansion valve right here. It is a meter in our refrigerant, you know, of course, from high pressure to low pressure. And we got a diaphragm right here, and on top of this diaphragm we have refrigerant, and this refrigerant goes to a sensing bulb down this tube. And if you look at the end of this tube, you'll see that it is broken, and what has happened is vibration has broke it loose from our sensing bulb, which held our refrigerant charge. So when we lost our refrigerant charge, now we have nothing to act against this diaphragm to make this valve open up. So when we start it up, we're going to see this thing go try to pull into a vacuum and probably hit the low pressure switch. So we're going to start it up and let you guys look at the pressures real quick. Here I've just got I've got my orange and green energized all ready to bring the indoor fan on, and I'm going to bring my yellow on to make my compressor contactor pull in, and then we'll look at our pressures. Watch your low side pressure. It's going to just steadily drop until it hits a low pressure cutout. We'll see, kind of try to see what it hits it at. It's probably going to hit it right around 20 psi, somewhere in there. All right. Probably about, looks like maybe about 25 psi. So what we've got to do now is I'm going to recover the refrigerant in this unit and change out this expansion valve and see if we can get this thing back online and get it running. And what I've got here, as you can see, I've got a recovery unit here, a blue device. Here's my recovery tank, and I've already got my hoses hooked up on the low side and the high side. The discharge line coming out of the compressors on the red line, and the suction line is coming out of the blue line is coming off of the suction line service port. So these are going to my manifold gauge, and my manifold gauge, I've got my charging hose actually hooked to the inlet on my recovery unit. So now what I've got to do is I've got to run an out hose on this side where it says out. I got to run it to my recovery tank. When you guys get in the field and start recovering, I'll try to go back to the video once I start recovering. On the 410A, you guys are going to see this tank is going to get really hot when I start recovering. And on a hot day, you know, it may be something that you have to actually pour water around the top of the tank to dissipate the heat off of it, to avoid head pressure problems on your recovery unit as it tries to pull the refrigerant out. So I'll get all this stuff up and running and then come back.